December 14th, 2025, 3:38 p.m., Brentwood, Los Angeles. A woman walks through the driveway to her parents' house. Her name was Romy Reiner. She is an actress. Her father is one of the most loved directors in Hollywood's history. Her mother was a renowned photographer. She has a key, but something is wrong here. The door is closed, and her parents are not answering her. She calls the masseuse who had an appointment scheduled with her mother today. The masseuse tells her something that makes her go cold. She says, "They weren't opening the door for me either." Romy opens the door, and what she sees was soon going to become a headline all over the world. A 78-year-old man and a 70-year-old woman are lying dead in their bedroom, having been stabbed repeatedly with a knife. But there is one detail that tells her that the whole family will remain in fear forever. Romy tells the police, her brother is missing from the house. He was living here, and he is dangerous. This is the story of the Reiner family massacre, their son, who disappeared into the night.
Today, the medical examiner revealing their causes of death as multiple sharp force injuries. The LAPD says they were found in their bedroom. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News midday Sunday a massage therapist came by the house and called the Reiner's daughter Romy when no one answered the door, and Romy then found her father's body.
To understand the weight of this case, we first need to know who the Reiner family was. Rob Reiner was the son of comedy legend Carl Reiner, who was the creator of The Dick Van Dyke Show. Before becoming a great director, Rob became famous by the name Meathead because of a comedy show, All in the Family. He gave the industry The Princess Bride. He gave the industry When Harry Met Sally. He gave the industry Stand By Me and A Few Good Men.
Nick is not only Rob Reiner's son, he's also the grandson of Carl Reiner, a legendary actor, writer, and director who created The Dick Van Dyke Show. Rob Reiner followed his father's footsteps, first breaking out as an actor on the groundbreaking 70s CBS sitcom All in the Family.
It looks like we lost a daughter, but we gained a meathead.
Winning 2 Emmys for the role.
Talk about parental approval.
But he wanted to differentiate himself from his dad, and he pivoted to being a movie director.
I've been working very hard. I mean, to make the transition from, a TV actor to a director took some doing. I mean, I had never directed a feature film before.
He made his directorial debut in 1984 with the rock and roll mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap, further showcasing his creativity and talent.
There was a Stone Age monument on the stage that was in danger of being crushed by a dwarf.
He would go on to direct some of the biggest hits in Hollywood history, from the Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan rom-com When Harry Met Sally, even casting his mom in one of the most memorable scenes.
I'll have what she's having.
To the star-studded and often quoted legal thriller A Few Good Men, starring Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
And coming-of-age classics like 1986's Stand By Me, starring Corey Feldman.
You little tin weasel, peckerwood loony son.
What did you call me?
His wife, Michelle Reiner, was a renowned photographer, a film producer, and a strong advocate for LGBTQ rights. Their marriage had been going on for 36 years. They had 3 children, Jake, Nick, and Romy. This whole family was Hollywood royalty. But behind the gates of their Brentwood mansion, something bad was about to happen that would be very difficult to take back.
Reiner's wife of 36 years, Michelle, was an artist in her own right.
Michelle was a documentarian and a photographer. She and Rob actually met on the set of When Harry Met Sally, and their meeting and connection was so impactful that Rob ended up changing the end of that film because of meeting Michelle. And we all know how that film ended.
When you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
Nick Reiner was a middle child, meaning he was the second one. From a young age, Nick was struggling. First, for years, he kept fighting the battle of substance abuse, in which he used drugs like meth, opioids, and alcohol. And because of these, he kept going in and out of rehab facilities. He used to talk openly about his inner demons.
At one point, Nick detailed his struggles on the Dopey podcast.
I wound up having a cocaine heart attack. I got totally spun out on uppers. I think it was coke and something else, and I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house. The TV, and then I went over to the lamp.
In fact, he also wrote a film with his father about addiction. This film was released in 2015. Its name was Being Charlie, and it was directed by Rob Reiner. Nick co-wrote this film. Showing his famous father, this story was about a young man who was an addict and who tries to get clean after addiction. At that time, Rob said that working together on the film brought the two of them closer.
Nick has openly struggled with addiction, collaborating with his father on the 2015 film Being Charlie, about an 18-year-old battling addiction and his oftentimes combative relationship with his dad.
It was never about the drugs.
The movie was based on Nick's own experiences in and out of rehab.
I have a lot of experiences that might be valuable to other people.
Nick had gone into recovery and treatment centers over and over again. He said that it was a difficult process and he didn't think it worked necessarily.
It's usually like they get out and they go back several times and they think it's their fault rather than the program thinking it's they design it to make it feel like you're the one that's the problem.
Right.
Which, you may be, but there's also more to it than that.
No idea how difficult it was for him.
He would always describe his parents as very accepting, and he always felt guilty for putting them through any kind of pain.
By 2025, Nick had turned 32 years old. He was living in his parents' guest house, and his inner demons had come out for revenge. December 13th, 2025. A Saturday night. Rob goes to a holiday party at the house of talk show host Conan O'Brien. This night should have been filled with laughter and old Hollywood gossip and stories, but witnesses say that later, Nick started behaving strangely. At some point in the party, an argument breaks out. This argument was short but loud, which happened between Rob Reiner and his son. What were they arguing about? The details have been kept hidden till now, but whatever argument happened there, it lit a spark. The whole family returns to the Brentwood mansion. The argument was still going on, and on Sunday morning, something snapped in Nick's mind. Prosecutors say that before sunrise on December 14th, Reiner enters his parents' bedroom. Whatever happened after that is being called very brutal, according to sources. According to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner, Rob and Michelle died due to sharp force injuries from a knife, and there was a difference of only a few minutes between their deaths. The coroner's officer later told sources that even the seasoned medical examiners present there were traumatized after seeing the photographs of the crime scene. This wasn't a struggle. This was an attack. According to sources, all these signs indicate that the murder happened under the influence of meth, as if someone with unstoppable, almost superhuman power had struck. A 78-year-old father and a 70-year-old mother were killed in their own bed by repeatedly stabbing them with a knife. And when all of this ended, Nick left the house and disappeared. The bodies lay there until evening. Around 3:40 p.m. on Sunday, Romy Reiner went to her parents' house. She found the doors locked. There was no answer to calls. She knew something was wrong. She told the police that her brother used to live in her parents' guest house, and she warned them that he should be considered a suspect because he is dangerous.
Are emerging in the shocking deaths of filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Reiner. Attention is turning to Nick Reiner's behavior at a holiday gathering. According to NBC News, two sources confirmed the couple's son had been disruptive at a holiday party hosted by Conan O'Brien on Saturday, December 13th, the night before his parents were found dead at their Los Angeles home. One source tells NBC News that Nick allegedly interrupted a discussion involving comedian Bill Hader. After Bill told him it was a private conversation, Nick reportedly stood still and stared before, quote, storming off. E! News has reached out to representatives for Bill Hader for comment. 32-year-old Nick was arrested the next day for suspicion of murder and is currently being held without bail. On December 16th, he was formally charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with the fatal stabbing of his parents. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office noted that he also faces a special allegation for allegedly using a knife.
When the police arrived there, they find Rob and Michelle Reiner dead in their master bedroom, and Nick was not present anywhere. The LAPD Robbery Homicide Division arrived there. They knew who they had to find, and they found him using that one thing which Nick had forgotten to turn off, his cell phone. Detectives found out that Nick checked into the Pierside Santa Monica Hotel around 4 a.m. Sunday, right after the murder. But when they arrived there the next evening, Nick had already left from there. So the police did something that was impossible to do 20 years ago. They pinged his phone. They used geolocation data app footprints, and tracked his movements through a network of CCTV cameras across the city. Experts say that cell phones register with nearby towers every 7 seconds. With a warrant, police can track their real-time location. Nick was moving quickly. Nick went to Exposition Park near USC in Los Angeles, possibly using the Metro Expo rail line. And around 8:20 p.m., he was captured on a gas station surveillance camera. He was wearing a black and green jacket with white stripes, a dark baseball cap, and carrying a red backpack. He bought a sports drink, and then he stood there for almost an hour. The gas station employee there says that Nick was just standing there. I don't know. Maybe he was waiting for someone there. He was nervous. The employee noticed that Nick was wandering around the parking lot, avoiding an off-duty security guard. He was nervous. Maybe he was waiting for something or someone. Around 9:15 p.m., gang and narcotics detectives from the LAPD Fugitive Task Force arrived there. This thing is also captured on the gas station cameras. 3 unmarked police cars arrive at the intersection. Their flashing lights turn on, and they block his path. Nick Reiner raises his hands and does not resist. Nick is taken into custody from there without incident. The 12-hour manhunt finally ends.
Captured on this surveillance footage buying a drink at a nearby convenience store. Sources say early Sunday morning he had checked into this hotel in Santa Monica after police believe he killed his parents with a knife. Today, the medical examiner revealing their causes of death as multiple sharp force injuries. The LAPD says they were found in their bedroom.
The next day, Nick is charged with 2 first-degree murder charges with special circumstances. Special circumstances allegations, multiple murders, meaning he faces maximum sentences like life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman calls this case the most challenging case he has ever faced. Prosecuting these cases involving family members are some of the most challenging and heart-wrenching cases that this office faces because of the intimate and often brutal nature of the crimes involved. Nick appeared in court for the first time wearing a blue-colored suicide prevention smock. Nick was under suicide watch at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility. During that time, a different type of story started coming to light. Not about the crime, but about the person who committed the crime. A few weeks before the murder, Nick's behavior had become strange. Sources told TMZ that he had become out of control and dangerous. He was recently receiving treatment at a rehab facility specializing in substance abuse and mental health. He was under the supervision of a psychiatrist. But here is a critical detail. A month before the murder, the doctor had changed Nick's medicine. Nick had complained about weight gain issues because of his old prescription. Because of the new medicine, Nick was not stable. Doctors were adjusting the medications to help, but that adjustment messed Nick up. Nick was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, a disorder because of which a person sees things, hears things, and has mood swings. According to sources, Nick was using again, meaning that when the medicine was changed, Nick started using meth again. The combination of methamphetamine and medicine change is a recipe for psychosis, becoming completely detached from reality. Nick hired powerhouse attorney Alan Jackson, who is a famous criminal defense lawyer. He had taken the cases of Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey.
Lawyer Alan Jackson confirmed to E! News on December 16th that he will be Nick's attorney and would not be commenting any further beyond procedural details of the case.
Jackson gave a big statement outside the courthouse that Nick Reiner is not guilty. But at the beginning of 2026, Jackson stepped back from this case, saying that he had no other option except to step back. Legal analysts believe that Jackson stepping back is a clear message. By not guilty, he meant not guilty by reason of insanity.
This morning, I had to withdraw as Nick Reiner's counsel. We feel that we have no choice at this juncture but to withdraw as counsel and ask to be relieved.
Gasps in the courtroom in reaction to attorney Alan Jackson's bombshell announcement. Jackson did not explain the reasoning behind his withdrawal, some speculating it was over money.
Alan, who's paying for Nick's defense?
But Jackson did say this at the following press conference.
Pursuant to the laws of this state, Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder.
The prosecution, led by LA District Attorney Nathan Hochman, immediately countered.
We are fully confident that a jury will convict Nick Reiner.
Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder. Print that. Print that. We wish him the very, very best moving forward.
An emphatic declaration today from high-profile defense attorney Alan Jackson after he announced in a shocking move that he was withdrawing from Nick Reiner's case.
But the reason for stepping back could also be that the strategy had become complicated, perhaps because of Nick's mental health or conflicts regarding his case. Nick is now being defended by Kimberly Green, and experts think that it could take 2 or even more years for the trial to start. Nick is imprisoned in the Twin Towers Correctional Facility in downtown Los Angeles. He is kept there without bail. He is in a restricted mental observation unit where people are checked every 15 minutes.
Degree murder with the special circumstance of multiple murders. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty.
Investigators are now looking into Nick's psychiatric and substance abuse history. He had previously said he'd been in and out of rehab more than a dozen times. And LAPD records show police were called to the Reiner's house at least twice in the past. One call in 2019 was classified as a welfare check, and 7 months later, police responded to a mental health-related call.
For fear that they might hurt themselves. A source describes his condition in the Daily Mail. This is a place where you don't want to spend 2 minutes. It makes One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest look like a day spa. They scream all day and night, and these sounds really bother you. Nick's mental state in jail right now is being described as like a child. He knows what he did, but according to sources, he does not know what the outcome will be, and his family, which he himself destroyed, has not contacted him. His brother Jake and sister Romy expressed grief over their parents, but they did not talk to Nick. On February 23, 2026, Nick Reiner appears in court. Shaved head, empty eyes, wearing a brown-colored jumpsuit, comes to court, not guilty. His next court date is April 29th, 2026. His sister and brother, Romy and Jake, have given a statement. Words cannot even begin to describe the unimaginable pain we are experiencing every moment of the day. The horrific and devastating loss of our parents is something that no one should ever experience. They weren't just our parents, they were our best friends.
Tonight, she and her brother Jake making their first statement since the tragedy, writing, "Words cannot even begin to describe the unimaginable pain we are experiencing. They weren't just our parents, they were our best friends." When Harry Met Sally star Meg Ryan breaking her silence, saying, "Thank you, Rob and Michelle, for the way you believe in true love, in fairy tales, and in laughter." And a group of the couple's closest friends, including Billy Crystal, Albert Brooks, and Larry David, recalling a line from one of Rob's favorite films, It's a Wonderful Life. Each man's life touches so many other lives, and when he isn't around, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he? You have no idea.
According to the LAPD's court order, the autopsies of the bodies had not been completed by February 2026. The investigation is still ongoing. The family is waiting, and the son, who himself murdered his own parents, is now in jail, away from the world that he himself destroyed. This is not just a true crime story. This is a tragedy of mental illness, addiction, and a family that has been broken from within. Rob and Michelle's legacy will live on through their art and films. But the surprising question is for those who think this case is simple. What happens when you become most afraid of the person you love the most?